Hi, everybody. I just decided I was going to do this on a whim. Welcome to a surprise edition of Moohead Radio. I'm your host, a big and furry bovine. Today we focus in the big gong of truth. As you can see, Topaz behind me going, "What in the hell? For whom the bells toll?" I am just kind of looking at what happened with college football this weekend and what's happened in the NFL and what's happening in Cleveland and whether or not the Browns should rest players and so I've decided to just amass a small number of articles and subjects and topics for people to listen to later, and maybe they can throw their 2 cents worth into the discussion. Uh, Down here in Florida, it's only 64 degrees, going to go down to 48 degrees tonight. We're getting some cool weather in Florida. I don't mean like cool, like, wow, man, that's cool. I mean, it's like put an extra blanket on the bed cool at night. So I got nothing better to do except just kind of hang out and talk about some of this shit. Why not? First, we start out with this great headline. Patriots Bill Belichick focuses on Jets, not job security. Then why is he talking about it? The fact of the matter is that every great coach, if you want to go from Vince Lombardi on, Mike Ditka on, they reach a point at which maybe they're a little behind the times, a little too old, a little too country, and not enough rock and roll. There comes a time when they're closer to death than life, a time when they've already started to have rigor mortis setting in, and even cheating can't help. When Bill Belichick starts getting ideas from Jim Harbaugh. These are the times you know that his time is coming to a rapid conclusion. Now, yes, his team stinks. But the fact of the matter is, without a quarterback, his team always stunk. He just lucked into a good quarterback, a great quarterback, a Hall of Fame quarterback who had a long lasting career and didn't get wiped out early by injuries. Dumb luck. The same thing could be said about Robert Kraft, the owner. Robert Kraft, you remember what he went through. Holy cannoli. I'm going to draft Jim Plunkett. And then I'm going to ruin Jim Plunkett. I got Drew Bledsoe. So there you have that. So Bill Belichick is focused on the Jets. But the more he focuses on the Jets, he's denying what he has become, which is a custodian for whoever takes over for him next. They're 4-12 this year. And hosting the Jets in the season finale only sounds like the hapless bowl to me. I got a good close look at the New York Jets last week. That's not pretty at all. If Bill Belichick beats the Jets, who cares? He could be focused all he wants to be focused. The fact of the matter is, there comes a time in coaches' lives where they just are no longer relevant. They can't deal with the new style of players. They're bulldozing personalities and tactics don't go over very well. Hey, look, Bronk is joining me. You must have no life at all.
I'm going to be eating dinner shortly, so I'll probably have to go.
So is it Indian food?
No, it's actually fish pie, which sounds better than what it sounds. It is better than what it sounds. It's actually
What is in fish pie?
various bits of white fish and shellfish, and then potato, like crow, like potato things with crusty bits.
Croquettes?
Yeah, something like that. A bit like that. Like French potatoes, like scallop potatoes and stuff. I'll send you a photo if you're really interested. It's very good.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
all
not
this
making
Brit
it.
food, is it bland like so much Brit food is?
No, it's very good.
Really?
Brit food's better than American food because we don't allow all those chemicals and all that other shit that you
Is
guys
it a
have.
form of a finger pie?
Big gong of truth. Well, it could be an American pie if you so desired. No, it'd be very. No, Topaz is looking at you, going, no.
Yeah, he every time I hit the big gong of truth.
He starts salivating. He's like,
Yes, Pavlovian. I don't know what that's all about. So Bill Belichick is saying, I'm worried about my next game, and I'm saying it should be your last game, and you had one stroke of luck, not genius, and nobody's ever considered Bill Belichick to be a great offensive mind. He was a good defensive mind, that's for damn sure. But now, this weekend, I watched Nick Saban call the 4th and ball game quarterback sneak from the 4-yard line.
I didn't. I boycotted that game, and anyway, it's late at night here, so when those games end, so any of it.
Oh, the Grim Reaper's reaching out for you, Nick. Oh, it's time for you to go. Now, I mean, what kind of stupid fucking asshole? I mean,
he's from
this
Ohio.
guy is living in the past, you see, and this is the problem as all of us get older.
Oh, God, yeah.
We live in the past, and it's hard for us to adjust to a new future.
Correct.
Or a new present, even.
Well, the new present is just fucking scary, really, isn't it?
Well, that's because we're
old.
And that's what Nick Saban thinks, too. And he said, back in the good old days, we just would, we would take a Trent Richardson and we would just run him up the middle on 4th and 15 and get it every time.
Well, the only decent running back they had was Derrick Henry, but go fuck himself. So,
well, I mean, this is an unbelievable call. The whole thing is on the line. Everything's on the line for those kids. And the call comes from the sideline. It's going to be the quarterback sneak from the 4-yard line because we always blow them off the line of scrimmage. We're the SEC.
Yeah, well, as you see by my name, we're living in a Harbaulian dystopia at the moment. I think there's some sort of change that clicked over in 2024 when we could have Harbaughs winning championships. It's not very odd.
No, that's odd. But what's even odder is that you would call a play that had no option.
Oh, well, what did Peter Ellis say about that?
Oh, the snap comes the quarterback. No rollout, north-south, head first into a cement wall. Oh. And that's what it looked like. I mean, it was like the 47th low snap or high snap of the game. Their center had the yips.
Oh, God.
And it was hilarious. He bends over to get the ball. He just runs with his head down into a wall of humanity. Unbelievable.
It's so weird. I mean, even Washington can now win the championship, but really Georgia should have been in the top 4, but anyway.
And then you have the bottom line of all of this. It's like, so Florida State didn't get in, huh? It's like,
wow.
Wait. I'll do my impression of a Florida State University football player. I'm going into the portal. I mean, I haven't seen that much of an exodus since the fucking movie.
Oh god, that was an
Honest to God. They didn't
the
have any
portal is
players.
great.
They got beat 63-3 or whatever the fuck it was.
Yeah, it was.
They had no players.
Yeah, well, Ohio State only got beat 14-3, but it might as well have been 63-3. And I didn't watch that game either, so
No, you could have just kept giving the ball to Ohio State over and over again. They would never have
nothing.
scored.
It's a
No.
high school team now.
And you wonder what the deal is with true freshmen. True freshman
freshmen.
quarterbacks are kind of like,
They don't have any pubic hair. That's what true freshman quarterbacks are like.
it's like going from the XFL into the NFL, PJ Walker. It's like, ah! They're after me. The game is, this is moving too quickly.
Hey, I was actually in the stadium for true freshman Art Sleester's first game. And you know what he did? We got beat 19-0 by Penn State, and I think he had at least 3, maybe 4 interceptions, and that was when Woody Hayes in 1978. So true freshman quarterback are
yeah. But again, college football has tarnished itself in so many ways.
Oh, it
these
needs
scandals.
to be done. It needs to be done.
And we thought the NIL was going to be good for players.
It is.
Something.
It is.
Nothing gets done for the ordinary person. Come on. I mean, this was a way to consolidate all of the power into the big money college football teams. And it's not entertaining anymore. There's no reason for players, unless they just want to take the outside chance that they can get from Liberty Bibberty University into the NFL. There's
nothing.
Yeah. I mean, there's going to be 10 schools, and Colorado's not one of them. 10 schools, and I don't call them schools. 10 football factories.
Franchises is what I call them.
Right, good. That's a good word for it. And
I'll let you finish, but I'll explain my theory of how to replace college football if I haven't already done so.
Does it include dynamite?
It would. It would effectively dynamite it.
Yeah.
But my theory is that you eliminate college football scholarships so that you do not allow universities to hand out college football scholarships. And what you have instead is you have a system where the 32 NFL teams have their own academy teams where they select 18 to under 21-year-olds and train them up, and they have preference on the people in their location in Ohio or in Pennsylvania or in New York or whatever. So you have 32 youth teams that play on a Saturday, and then you have the NFL that plays on a Sunday. And then the universities can still have football, but it will be only for people that want to have an education and not go to university to play football and not have an education. So you could still have an Ohio State football team. It's just that there wouldn't be any scholarships. So it'd be all people that would want to get a degree. And then all those other really top football players that have no interest in having a degree can join an academy NFL team. And that would be fucking exciting. You'd still have college football for all those alumni that want to have their team. You'd have a youth NFL team that would be fucking good.
But you want to know why it won't work?
Because it's too sensible.
No. It's because of the great G League experience. Yeah. The NBA says, sometimes the younger players aren't quite ready for the NBA yet. And that's all a crock of shit. Because every really talented freshman, the NBA is going to try to grab them. They're going to try to grab them as young as they can grab them, because, and they'll put them on the floor too. They have no problem with that. And what the G League ends up is an empty building, auditorium, at field house,
Yeah.
And what you're watching are a bunch of people who, well, they could be playing in China, or they could be playing in Korea, or they could be playing in Turkey, but they're never really going to get anything but an emergency look-see in the NBA. So there's no money to be made in it. Now, why
Yeah.
would the NFL doesn't want to part with money any more than it has to, and they're not going to support an academy league.
Well, they would if they eliminate scholarships. That's the whole key to it. So, and that's I think they would support it because people would go watch it. I mean, if you could
I
watch,
don't believe that people would. I think the families of the kids would, but the majority of people who are getting scholarships don't end up in the NFL. They end
correct,
up selling car insurance. I mean,
correct.
there. So you're going to be watching a bunch of insurance salesmen or future insurance salesmen out on the field, and that will not. And you're not going to have, like the NBA and the NFL thrives on name recognition. You have Giannis, and you have Doncic, and you have
Yeah,
Doncic,
the thing
Don
about the
Don
NBA is
Quixote.
that
Yeah,
the NBA is different because it has all this foreign pool of players it can draw from too, whereas the NFL has this nascent foreign pool where you get the odd player from England or the odd player from Germany or
right.
Australia, but it's not anything like the pro basketball leagues in Europe and Asia and Middle East and all that. So to compare an NFL Academy League to the G League, I think is a little bit unfair. So, and I think that if you have them regionalized, where the Browns would have Northeast Ohio 18 to 20 year or Ohio, first pick of Ohio players, and then you have a free agent pool where you get other players in. If the NFL teams can choose people from their home area, then it would pack out. It wouldn't maybe not get 80,000, but it would get 40,000, 30,000 people going to see these games.
Well, I
Somebody's
mean,
going to hear this and write this up and send it to the NFL, and it'll happen
nah,
10 years
it's
from now.
not. That's not going to float. And the reason it's not going to float, they're not going to invest their money in that because they're just quite happy with consolidating down the football factories, and so that they'll know exactly
Well,
where to go for all their
that's what they're
players.
doing. They're getting it
Mhm.
down to like 20 teams
That's right.
anyway. They're
Yeah.
getting
So I
it
mean,
down.
they'll save money on scouting. Honest to God.
Yeah, yeah. They're getting it down to 20 teams so that if you're a good player, you go to Princeton or you go to the Naval Academy or if you go to fucking Citadel or wherever Khalil Mack went to, Buffalo, you're not going to be seen. So,
Yeah. So at any rate, Nick Saban after the game said, "We shot ourselves in the foot. We."
that's the royal we. That's like what the Queen would say. We have decided to.
Yeah.
He thinks he's the Queen of Alabama, is what he thinks.
Well, it's ridiculous. It's like it's he shot himself in the foot, and the we is the most irritating thing in the world because they're 18, 19, 20-year-old kids.
And it's not their fault. It's
I
not
mean,
their fault.
realistically, anything can happen in these games.
Yeah, it's not their
Anything.
fault.
And and it still took Michigan every last whoop and grunt to beat this old man led secondary strength Alabama team.
Well,
The
I mean,
quarterback, you know, 116 yards of pass offense for the
yeah.
quarterback. And it's just unbelievable. I sit and keep watching this play over and over again. And it's like it was a suicide mission and it had to fail. There was no other outcome but failure.
Was it
And
like the Life of Brian Quack Suicide Squad? Suicide Squad! Bah!
now, meanwhile, in the real world of football in my life, which is not
Really?
college football, it's professional football, we find out more than we really need to know And what it comes down to is the players that are the national media gets behind certain players, certain teams.
Absolutely, Patrick Mahomes.
I want to ask the big gong of truth question.
GOT. Uh-oh, there goes Gun
What?
Pass.
What is it? Is there a fire?
No,
Okay.
food, give me a snack. I want a snack.
The question is, who got the ball rolling that the Cincinnati Bengals were better than the Cleveland Browns?
Oh,
And that the organization is so much further along. You know,
Mary Kay Cabot. I don't know.
what have you done for me lately? And you know what the thing is that why is it? And don't go there with Andy Rooney. Why? I want an I want an explanation as to why things are just assumed to be a certain way. Well, they made it to 2 championship games and they lost them. And why is it that some quarterbacks are like demeaned because, oh, that son of a bitch is always hurt? But Joe Burrow, they never mention it. That guy has not played a full season yet.
I don't think he's played a full season ever in his life.
And when he was on the field, he wasn't very good.
And he was getting sacked more than Flacco.
And not only that, but the guy who stepped in for him completed a higher percentage of his passes.
Yeah.
So I get sick and tired of the media hoisting up certain people and certain things and certain teams, and it's obviously not true. Yeah. Now you have the Pittsburgh Squealers who have a chance to make the playoffs, right?
Chance, they will make it. They will make it.
Well, who do they have to beat, Bronk?
The Ravens.
They got to beat the Ravens.
Who are not going to play probably any of their fucking starters.
Right.
Good luck to them, too. I hope the Steelers get in and get the 7th seed or the 6th seed. Fuck them. Yeah.
But there is a problem, Houston, in Pittsburgh. There has been a nasty rumor being spread that Kenny Pickett refused to dress as the backup. Oh. And the reason is they wanted him to wear a ballerina dress.
Yeah.
And Kenny, who is very feminine looking to begin with, took exception and gave it 2 snaps down. Kenny is denying that. Here's what he said. Now, you tell me if this sounds like the way you want the quarterback of your future to be talking.
Face of the franchise.
Yes.
They were trying to make him the face of the franchise. Go ahead.
It was either I was going to start and play, Pickett said, or if they didn't think I was good enough to do that, healthy enough, I was going to be the number 3 and not dress. There was no talk of me being a backup quarterback this week in terms of being a 2, Pickett said. If I was healthy enough to play and the trainers and coaches felt like I looked good enough to play, I was going to start and play. If they believed that I was not, which they believed I was not, this is what he said. I was not going to dress and suit up for the game. So whoever reported that, I don't know where it started. It's kind of crazy what people will write. But I'm disappointed to see that without any proof or basis.
Fucking hell.
I'm not making this stuff up. Wow. This is true. The whole thing was there's no talk of me being a backup this week in terms of being the number 2. If I was healthy enough to play and the trainers and coaches felt like I looked good enough to play, I was going to start and play. If they believed I wasn't, which they believed I wasn't, I was not going to suit up and play for the game. So that's basically the saying, well, they didn't think he was good enough. He never said, I didn't think that I was good enough. That was a decision that Pittsburgh made, and Tomlin's going to ride the hot hand
of Mason Rudolph. So
of Mason Rudolph.
Number 1, Trubisky's number 2, And Pickett's number 3.
And
Let's
then
all
he even slipped earlier in the
crazy.
quote. He goes, it was either I was going to start and play, or if they didn't think I was good enough to do that. And then he says, healthy enough. And I say, aha, aha.
That was a Muhedian slip, like a
Yes,
Freudian
it
slip,
was.
only a Muhedian slip.
So that's what's going on in Pittsburgh. You've got a quarterback controversy between a feminine quarterback and a racist quarterback.
And a useless quarterback.
Yeah, well, okay. Poor Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah,
Everyone's doing the Parma polka. Yep.
Yeah,
Mitch Trubisky.
He's from Mentor. We can feel sorry for him.
He needs a mentor.
Yeah.
What he's got going for him. So that's what's happening there. But we don't, and I'm amazed this made print because they never really come down.
Yeah, they never really do any bad sort of publicity for the Steelers, and that's bad.
No, they don't.
That's not good.
It's ridiculous. And the same thing's true. I mentioned at the beginning of the show, who said the Bengals are better than the Browns?
Not me at any point this year.
Oh, that's all I've heard. And all I read on Twitter is, we're further along and this and that and this and that. I don't see it.
Themselves.
I don't see it. I never saw it, and I don't see it at all. But there is news, if you want to call it news, about Jamar Chase. And, that's the guy who I think we all agreed he was the reason why. I mean, their receiving core, T. Higgins is a good receiver, but Jamar Chase keeps everybody honest. It's going to make T. Higgins
much better. When he's on the field, that whole receiving core is elite. When he's not there, then they go down 3 notches.
Jamar Chase draws doubles all over the field.
Yeah.
So I was always very complimentary and said, Jamar Chase is a really, really, really good wide receiver.
Yeah, if he keeps playing another 6 years, he's in the fucking Hall of Fame.
However, they've lost to the Chiefs now 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
And for some reason, Jamar Chase, it's gone to his head, and he can't keep his fucking mouth shut. All right?
Well, he is a wide receiver, so they have a problem with that.
Now, get this. In the second quarter, Chase was whistled for unnecessary roughness after he and L'Jarius Sneed of the Chiefs engaged in a shoving match after a play. Oh. And after the game, Chase took credit for sparking the battle with Cincinnati's AFC rival. How are they an AFC rival? I am so tired of this rivalry talk. And I said this about the Browns in Pittsburgh when we lost umpteen games in a row.
30 games in a row out of 31, and one of them was a tie with Tyrod Taylor.
It's not a fucking rivalry when you're getting the shit kicked out of you every time.
Correct, yeah.
All right? So this is not a rivalry. Kansas City has won every time.
Yeah.
All right? But here's Jamar Chase after losing for the 3rd time in a row. Quote, I started it off. Their whole defense was mad at me. It started at the beginning of the game. You saw it. Everybody's seen it. That's just what I like to do.
Oh, so he's a prick then.
Said Chase of his battle with Sneed, I just be under people's skin sometimes. Motherfucker won't fight me.
No.
Now, isn't this great that we finally are hearing the truth about a guy who's so full of himself that it's me, 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 me. I've seen some great wide receivers. I mean, I just watched a really, really fine receiver in Amari Cooper set a Browns record.
We did.
And he didn't start all this bullshit talk in the locker room. I mean, this is horse shit.
And he's from Alabama, too. God forbid. Wow.
Yeah, I know. Chase had 3 catches for 41 yards in the game. And Sneed was lined up directly against him 61.8% of his routes. Who do you think won that battle?
Yeah.
I'll give you a hint. It wasn't Chase.
You almost did the Joe Banner voice when you said that. It wasn't Chase. you
Oh,
had
wait.
you had the
You invoked his name.
you had the Joe Banner voice when you said that. I spelled Chase.
61.8%. After the game, Jamar Chase said, "I'm sure as hell not going to sit there and take 60 more of those. I'm just killing myself."
You are.
What's that stench?
Smells like the Bengals.
Yeah. Well, this is, Jamar Chase estimated that he was 70% healthy. Excuses too. Do you think Amari Cooper was healthy when he set the record?
No, not at all.
He hurt his heel on the first reception, that 53-yarder. He hurt it then. And then all he did is he went on and got 210 more yards, 212 more yards to be exact.
Yeah, he's probably 40% healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck all these people.
And because of his limited capacity, he said he did not have his usual role in the team's weekly game plan. Excuses. And that all changed when T. Higgins suffered a left hamstring injury on his first catch of the game. But basically what they're saying is, we don't have our regular players. And I'm a Browns fan saying, oh, fuck you. Oh, fuck you. You have no idea what it's like to have massive injuries.
We got 30% of our fucking salary cap on the fucking IR, let alone day to day and concussed and whatever injuries, rib injuries, pec injuries.
Yeah, it's Oh, thank you. Happy New Year to you too. It was fun.
Happy Moo Year.
You know what happened down here in Florida? I'll tell you what happened here in Florida. Well, I digress from the regular program.
At least it didn't happen in Japan. Jesus Christ.
No, it happened right here in Florida. I wish it had happened in Japan. It would be further away from it. We had people where we live here. It's kind of interesting. There's the backyard, which isn't much yard in Florida. Then there's a water retention area, which is really more of it's a golf hazard because there's a golf course behind us. Okay. And that's where golfers try to fish out 50-cent golf balls at the risk of being consumed by alligators. All right.
Great.
And I see it every year that an alligator is blended in with the muck at the side of the lake. Some guy goes reaching in, to get his ball and, that's a different one. That's not, it's like.
That's like the Bruce Lee yell when he jumps out of the ceiling.
Yeah. And you go to the other side of the golf course, you see, just across the fairway, and there's another neighborhood over there. So in other words, the golf course bisects two neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Somebody in that neighborhood over there is yelling and screaming and just making a lot of noise, throwing firecrackers and all that shit. Because it's Happy New Year, and they're drinking because they're loud, obnoxious, and it's already 11:30, and they're going to do the Dick Clark countdown, and they're going to do it just like Dick Clark did it. They're going to slur it because they're drunk.
And he's dead too. So.
And he's quite dead. Yeah, he's the world's youngest dead
guy.
Yeah, teenager. So then all of a sudden it changes.
Ooh.
It's like, now wait a minute, that's not a fucking firecracker. Somebody's shooting pistols off.
Ooh.
Yeah. So poor Topaz is in his crate. All right. Topaz. And he's circling around panic stricken. Holy shit, those are guns.
The wars are coming here.
And I'm saying, what the fuck's going on here? It's like, I've lived here for 23 years. I never heard guns shooting down here. And I've been here for every single goddamn New Year's. And then it dawned on me. MAGA!
Wow.
Yeah. It's like, oh, gotta own me a gun so I can shoot it off and accidentally shoot my neighbor.
Yeah, because if you
Happy New
fire it up
Year.
in the
Oh, I'm
air,
sorry, Mrs. Adams. I didn't mean to hit your husband in the head.
yeah, because you fire guns up in the air, they gotta come down. They can land a half
Guns,
mile away.
guns are not props.
No, they're tools.
And guns are not firecrackers.
Correct.
I was going to say they're not props, but Brandon Lee would probably disagree with
Oh,
you.
who's the other guy waving a gun around in the NBA? I can't think of
Oh,
his
the
name.
John Morant.
John
Sure.
Moran. Him. Yeah.
Yeah. It,
Oh well.
it's unbelievable. And for half an hour, we sat there listening to. It was like Jimmy Haslam. I
Jimmy
lived next door to
Haslam.
Jimmy.
Jimmy
Woo!
Haslam.
Happy New Year! I'm going to go out and guarantee another crippled quarterback $230 million. Woo!
You should check out Dickie V. Make sure you didn't get hit by a stray bullet coming through the
Yeah.
wall.
I mean,
Yeah.
you fire that thing at me, baby. I'll tell you something. I'm going to wipe your ass with a diaper dandy. I don't even know what it means, but
It sounded good.
it sounded good. That's exactly right. So, yeah, that's what we did to ring in the new year in Florida. We listened to gunfire.
Wow.
I wanted to put up, instead of Santa Claus, next year I'm going to put up as the little inflatable Marshall Matt Dillon.
Yeah.
If that's before your time, I
Gun stuff,
apologize.
yeah.
Older people are laughing at that joke, believe me.
Wow.
On
I was gonna say
Thursday,
something. I can't remember.
prior to the game, Chase, we're still talking about Jamar Chase here,
Not the bank.
he added fire to the fuel, saying that the reigning Super Bowl champions didn't have any superstars on defense.
Whoa.
You see, I mean, he just
He's
insults the
an
whole
idiot.
team.
Wow. He's an idiot.
Yeah. So, it's all old news, but the fact of the matter is the NFL has its own publicity machine, and that's just the way it works. But don't for a minute believe anything that you hear from any fucking media source, because it's tainted.
Yes. But we
Now,
believe Moo, though. We believe in Moo.
well, I'm just pointing out that there's obviously, I like to say after the fact. I never thought that the Bengals organization was superior to the Browns. Now, I will say
No.
that the Ravens and Steelers organizations are a whole lot more stable than the Browns. All right.
Yeah.
So, and Sean McVay put an end to any conversation of retirement when he said he promises that he'd be back next season. So I didn't think that having a child would be anything that important to Sean McVay compared to watching grown men get concussions and die early.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot more life affirming to coach a football team than to watch Scotty grow,
Oh, wow. What a world we live in.
Yeah, well, but Sean McVay's too young to retire anyway, and the idea of him spending time with the child,
Probably warp his head anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it might make him kind, and giving. Yeah, there's no room for that in football. Then we turn to the Cleveland Browns, whose one-time fine quarterback Frank Ryan passed away at the age of 87.
Frank Ryan is dead. Jim Brown is dead. And I think what that means is that the curse of the 1964 championship team is now over. They're all dead. So we can win another championship now. So a bit like the undefeated Miami Dolphins. They have to all die before somebody goes undefeated.
And yeah, I heard my name being invoked.
Jim fucking Brown.
Jim fucking Brown here. Down here. What is this thing about red? What is everybody wearing red down here?
Yep. There's a lot of balconies down there, though. There's different levels.
There'd be balconies if I was up in the upper place. Down here, there ain't no down, further down to go.
There's no further down. It's not infinite down.
No, man, this is it. This is it. And I wanted Raquel Welch down here,
Oh wow,
but
she's not here, huh? Can't
shit,
find her.
shit.
Oh wow.
It bothers me. Actually, it bothers me. Bovers.
Yeah.
I'm a spelling champion because I am extraordinary, not ordinary.
And a singer of English and Portuguese.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I do the samba and the
And the
bamba.
bamba.
All right. Yeah, Frank Ryan passed away at
Frank Ryan's
87.
dead.
And smart guy, mathematician.
Oh God, yeah, he was a doctor. He had a doctorate degree.
Yeah, smart guy. And he lived to 87.
Yeah,
Football has changed, folks.
He knew how to not get hit, though. Too. I think he got injured a few times, but I don't think he got his bell rung quite like they do these days.
Yeah, it's just sad. He died on New Year's Day.
Aw, all was quiet on New Year's Day. As
Nobody did him a favor. This is New Year's jokes, and it's really not funny. It was Frank Ryan who the 27-0 victory over the Colts in the 64 championship. The last great thing the Browns organization.
The last trophy we fucking have won. That was the last trophy.
Yeah. I mean, we've been waiting for so long, man. It's so long.
You don't get a trophy for winning the division championship. You get the trophy for winning your conference, and you get a trophy for winning the Super Bowl. So we haven't even had a AFC or NFL trophy since 1964.
I'm sorry to hear that, Amsterdam. I wasn't even aware of the timing of that. I saw that he had passed away, but I didn't know that it was on New Year's Day. And that makes it especially hard, especially to go to the party,
Yeah.
It's I know all too well the difficulties and adapting to all that kind of stuff. The question that comes up now in the Big Gong of Truth show.
Why is it?
Will Kevin Stefanski rest Joe Flacco and other Brown starters versus the Bengals? And you know something? For the life of me, dear Jesus, why would you bring Driscoll up? I mean,
and not play him.
Right. I mean, just give him the reps, send him out there, point which way the end zone is, and then go, woo, is he getting his ass kicked? But, it's like, but better him. He's going to be like the stunt man.
Yeah, well, the Bengals have nothing to play for, too, because, they've been eliminated.
Well, the second Brandon Lee, why couldn't they have a stunt guy use the prop gun?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, we have a stunt guy. That's Jeff Driscoll, and he's going to play. But, I mean, why ask stupid questions like this? There is no way that Joe Flacco is out there to play a meaningless game. I mean, you're the 5 seed no matter what. It is like a 70% plus chance you're going to play the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I got to go eat. So
okay.
I will Happy New Year to everyone. Goodbye.
Happy New Year.
I'll check it out later.
Bye. Yeah. So I guess what it amounts to for me is this. You wouldn't play Joe Flacco, who's going to be 39 years old in the middle of January. You're not going to play him in a meaningless game that won't affect your seeding. And you're going to end up playing Jacksonville with a 70% chance of certainty. You're just not going to do that. So why are they asking the question like, well, playing Joe Flacco would be a real possibility? And then I say to myself, not what a wonderful world. What I say to myself is, maybe I shouldn't be so sure about this, because how do you explain the Miami Dolphins, leaving Tua, their starting quarterback, in a game that they were trailing by 40 points in the fourth quarter. Why would you have kept him in the game? And during that time, he hurt his shoulder. And Bradley Chubb, no relation to Nick that I'm aware of, Bradley Chubb, who is a great pass rusher for them, wiped out for the season with less than 3 minutes to go in the fucking game when his team was down by 40 plus points and he ripped his ACL out. So, and people want to say that McDaniel is what a great coach he is. He's a fucking idiot. He's a lame brain. Are you kidding me? You're in the playoffs. Why would you do that? And it's because you're out of touch. So, but there is a prelude to all this discussion, because what should be an obvious answer, which is you don't play Flacco, you don't play Amari Cooper, you don't play Mr. Concussion Elijah Moore, you don't do it. Because you saw what was behind these two guys at wide receiver. You won't beat Jacksonville if you have to go in there with Bell and with Tillman. Like, not going to happen. But at the same time, I wouldn't fuck around and play Jerome Ford. I wouldn't play Kareem Hunt. Let Kareem Hunt heal up his body. We need him for short yardage situations. Let Strong play. Let him fumble 7 times. Let him play. You know, what a perfect time for Austin Watkins to come off the practice squad and play with Jeff Driscoll. So nobody will know what in the hell's going on out there. That's, don't play Myles Garrett. I mean, do I have to say this shit? There's so many guys. I would not play Denzel Ward. He of the prone to concussion. I would not play him. Wouldn't do it. You can't play Taki because Anthony Walker's not ready to play, and you don't have another linebacker who can wear the green sticker. I wouldn't play Koromoa either. I wouldn't play any of the people who are my frontline secondary people. Let the other people have an opportunity to go out and play and motivate them by letting Jim Schwartz stand in front of the second and third string defense, say, you remember when I put you in the game early last time and you fucked up? Well, now you can make it all good because I have a long fucking memory. And the last thing I see out of you guys is the first thing I'm going to remember in the offseason. And you'll be in the NFL, which stands for, yes, Jerry Glanville, not for long. Give those guys a reason to go out and play hard this time because they didn't the last time. So why this is even a point of contention, I don't understand. The Browns should play none of their skilled players that they absolutely have to have. It would just be a huge, huge mistake. So there's that. We get to kind of sit back and not care. I mean, I'll be doing a halftime and post-game show for the second and third string Cleveland Browns team. But it's so nice to know that our team, and I understand that we're, the talk, the football speak in this is, we don't want to rest everybody and lose our momentum. We really want to win out. And I get all that. But if you want to win out in a game against Cincinnati, that doesn't mean a goddamn thing. And you end up hurting your chances of winning the one playoff game that you worked your ass to get to. I mean, it's been next man up all year. Just let it ride. Ride with it. I just don't understand, and there are a bunch of fans saying, well, I got tickets to that game and I don't want to see a bunch of second and third stringers. Fuck you. Who cares about what you want? You were dumb enough to pay the price for the tickets in the first place. You gave your money to Jimmy the Thief Haslam. Woo! Thank you very much, you dumb fucker. Woo! Right? Ah, goodness gracious. And I will do a show on Friday, and we'll talk about, as we get closer to this thing. But anybody who's nicked up has to rest, or the guy at the top of the pyramid, Flacco, has to just kind of sit. Let him take reps. You're not going to win with Jeff Driscoll. He doesn't have the foggiest notion, and God only knows if you should decide to play PJ Walker. You might as well just let PJ hand the ball off to the wrong team, because he'll turn it over 4 times, 5 times maybe if you're lucky. But Driscoll, I figure they pick up because he's 6'4" and he's 230 pounds, and he's kind of like Flacco in physical proportion. Not like him as a quarterback, but he's like him physically, and he probably does play action and will stand in the pocket and take a beating. That's his job this week. And, he gets to, at 30 years of age, Driscoll gets to show other teams like, hey, you think I got some gas left in the tank? And he's only 30. He's 1-9 in his career as a starting quarterback. So, don't bet on this game, folks. Shouldn't bet on any game, honestly, but don't bet on this one. You don't even know who's going to play. That's that. But yeah, to lose their pass rusher, the Dolphins, is just amazing stuff. No time left on the clock, basically. I mean, he suffered the torn ACL in his right knee, and Mike McDaniel, they'd be better off with Michael McDonald as their head coach. Yeah. Oh my God. He tore his ACL. If Michael McDonald were a football coach, he'd give a pep talk, before the game, and nobody would understand what he was talking about. Nobody would understand every other word. It's just the defensive starters were all on the field when this happened. And this is what the head coach said. And this is the kind of thing that makes you really worry about people and how oddly myopic they are. I mean, in hindsight, I would absolutely not have wanted him out there if I would have known that he was going to get hurt. It's like, you don't anticipate things? You stupid fuck. You fucking child. Hooah. I thought the job of a coach was just like to kind of divine what would work and what wouldn't work. To not just consider what's happening right at this second, but what might be happening a quarter from now. I thought that there was supposed to be some peripheral vision. No. Then he went on to say, well, it doesn't look very smart at all. The players wanted to go back in and play and finish the right way heading into the next week. Oh, so you're letting your players decide whether they play or not. These guys already know they're going to die young. It's like, hey, put me back in, coach. I'm ready to play. I can be center field. I have the ability to tell them no, McDaniel said, on everything in this situation. There's plenty of decisions that I'll cross-examine. The intention is always purposeful. Yes, he did it on purpose. And I made the call that the guys went out there. They wanted to be out there. I would like a time machine for sure. How about some fucking common sense? Beware, Cleveland Browns. You have been told in advance. Oh, God. And you know something, Amsterdam? I don't want to hear about the fucking portal. It makes me think about Scotty beaming people down in Star Trek. Players beaming out of programs into new programs for a pittance of money compared to what the universities are willing to invest and make. The whole thing sucks. I will never, I promise, never, I promise, talk about college football on this fucking show again because it ain't amateur sports, baby. It's right down the shitter to me. It's all another consolidation job in which the rich get richer, the poor get poorer, the working guy gets a pittance, gets no insurance when they get injured, and no more assurance they're going to have a career in the NFL. It's the same thing. It's everything, and the gamblers. The gambling establishments go, oh, this is going to be great for business. It's not what I had in mind with NIL. That's not what I had in mind. I want, and it's like, well, God, Mr. Moohead, the players are making out. It's like, no, they're not. No. They're risking their lives and their limbs and their safety. For what? For what? Somebody brought up a really good point on the last program I did in the comment section saying the colleges aren't even concerned about really creating, if you will, or nurturing NFL style quarterbacks because they don't give a shit about drop back passers. Because that's what I was talking about on the show is the fact that, hey, having a tall, strong pocket passer, really should never go out of style because if you block for him, the guy's got a strong arm. He can get the ball out there as opposed to waiting for the 1 in a million Lamar Jackson to show up with the uncertainty of how long the guy's career is going to last. Meanwhile, you got guys like Dan Marino, whose career lasted like Methuselah's lifespan. Yeah, I had guys like Dan Fouts, same thing. You had pocket passers, Terry Bradshaw and like Ben Roethlisberger. We went over the whole thing in the last show. They don't care about that. If they can find a guy who has scrambling capability and can run fast as hell, doesn't matter if he rips his leg out in a year or two, there'll always be the portal next year, and we'll pick up another one right off the scrap heap. There'll always be a young man willing to give up his life and limb for the cause of Ohio State University or Alabama or Georgia or Clemson or the dreaded University of Michigan. It's amazing, isn't it? This is what's become of college football. I ain't going to talk about that shit. I don't care who wins because the players don't win. The university wins. More money. And y'all want to gamble on that bullshit? You piss your money away and you be stupid and you fit right into America. You'll fit right in because you're just walking into a fucking bear trap, man. And then you wonder when it clamps down on your leg, how come you're the one who's always bleeding and the goddamn guy who talks like this and says, no, it's all about investment and strategy. You see, it's not about production. We can have Mexicans producing. We can have 47 NAFTA agreements with every poor nation in the world. We don't need manufacturing jobs. No, we all have to become investors. And it's like, investors my ass. The average guy can't invest in the stock market because it's all been claimed. You got people moving such large amounts of money. Those few people, they can make it down and go up, just like Tommy Smothers used to do with a yo-yo. I had to get my Tommy Smothers reference in because he's gone at 86 years of age. Part of my youth. So that's the big gong of truth. A, college football's lost all of its credibility. B, the Bengals were never a better organization than the Cleveland Browns, and Zach Taylor was never a good coach. Mike McDaniel is a moron for leaving his starters in a game he couldn't possibly win that really had no fucking bearing on anything when he needed to win the following week. These are all big gongs of truth, folks. And you know, and Bill Belichick focusing on the New York Jets because he's not thinking about retirement. It's not you who thinks about retirement. It's Robert Kraft. Not his retirement, your retirement, Bill. Thanks a lot for tuning into this edition of Moohead Radio. I'll be back again on Friday. We'll be talking Cleveland Browns and Cincinnati Bengals, and we're going to get an idea, a very vivid idea of who we play in the playoffs. And it's 70% that it's going to be the Jaguars. And, you know, Trevor Lawrence will be back and, you know, with his long flowing hair. And he will claim that he's still nicked up and injured, but, and we got to beat them in Jacksonville, even though our record is better than their record. There you have it. All the big gong of truth staring at you in the face. Thanks a lot for tuning in, and I'll be back again on Friday. Until then, hasta la vista, Pastor Heads. Good night.